Add a few people more. And I was afraid nobody would come. Well, I was wrong. Everybody's here.
There, now I can see myself.
I'm gonna give it one more minute and then we'll get started. There's Mary Smith. All right. All right. I'll keep an eye on that. Try to kind of admit other people as we go. Dawn, you don't need to have your camera on. You can turn that off for now. If you want to have your camera off, that's fine. Otherwise, it might kind of clog up the screen a little bit for people who want to see the PowerPoint. So we're going to get started. Just want to welcome everybody. We have a chat window on the bottom. I know I have you guys on mute. That's okay, Dawn, don't worry about it. We got you guys on mute. Type your questions as we go and we'll kind of address them as we go through different sections. And then in the end, we'll answer any other questions. And if we need, did that work? Okay. Okay. And if we want to unmute you at that time, if you want to ask some more, that's fine. But during the actual presentation, if you could just type your questions, that would be fantastic. So let's get started. Welcome everybody. My name is Kathy Schillinglaw. I am the Volunteer and Outreach Coordinator here at MADC. We are going to be going through real quick. I still have a few more people in the waiting room. Let me just grab them real quick. I want to make sure everybody gets in here if they want to. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be going through, we'll try to get through this in about an hour. We're going to be going through our kitten foster program for MADC. And our kitten foster program has been around for about 5 years. It started really organically with volunteers taking kittens home, basically getting them ready for adoption and then bringing them back. And then we would fit them into our spay neuter program. And that kind of became bigger and bigger every year. When I first became volunteer coordinator in 2014, I was responsible for kitten fosters, and our program was really small. It was just one part of what I did, and it was not my main focus. And we really just scratched the surface of the kittens that could be saved at MADC. And then we brought in a new role that started as a granted position, and that is the foster coordinator, and that has turned into basically a full-time position that Kate does, and I'll introduce her in a second. And we've gone from having a handful of kittens in foster care to at some point having 300 kittens in foster care at any point in time. So I just want to introduce you guys kind of to what we do here. Fostering saves lives, and we all know that. That's why you guys are here. Fostering is rewarding, and there's so many great things that come from fostering, and then fostering helps the community. There's a lot of people that are able to help in your community, and that's really fantastic. So I'm still adding more people. People are popping in. That's cool. Just keep coming. Just want a real quick introduction. Again, my name is Kathy Schillinglaw. I'm the Outreach and Volunteer Coordinator. I am responsible for the media. I'm responsible for helping marketing the foster program, helping marketing the fostering kittens, and that's what I do. Kate is our shelter outcomes coordinator, or as in this presentation, we're going to refer to as the foster coordinator. It is one part of her job. She also is responsible for the dog adoption program and just outcomes at MADC, so positive outcomes at MADC. And then we have Dr. Libby Gutting. She is our vet at MADC. She is our medical director. She is also in charge of a couple other veterinarians that work for us, Dr. Justin Bergeron and Dr. Zoe Schaefer. Dr. Zoe Schaefer is brand new and she'll be starting in May. And you guys that have been working with Matic for a while have met Dr. Bergeron, but Dr. Bergeron's actually deployed right now. He is in, I think he is in Africa, or he's on his way to Africa, and he will be back in September. So you're going to be mainly working with Dr. Gutting and then eventually Dr. Schaefer. And so that's kind of your team here at Matic. You're going to be interacting with other people. We have a large group of vet techs, and you're going to be dealing with the people that work at the front desk. So you're going to get to know a little bit of everything, but your go-to person is going to be Kate. And Kate is going to be kind of the master of ceremonies tonight. And she's also, she's really going to be your advocate, and she's going to be the one that's going to help you. She's going to be the one, along with Dr. Gutting, that's going to be provide behavior support, provide medical support. And then we also are able to provide food, medicine, and other supplies that you need. And then my job, of course, when needed, is to market those adoptable kittens, which isn't needed real often because kittens sell themselves, right? So I'm going to pass this on to Kate. She's going to talk to you a little bit about fostering, and I'm going to just mute myself here and let her take over.
Hi guys, thank you so much for joining us tonight. I really appreciate it. Many of you know me already. For those of you that don't, as Kathy said, I am Kate. I am the foster coordinator. I am going to be your go-to person. You are going to get so sick of hearing from me, it's not even funny. I promise I try to keep it pleasant. Why is fostering important? We get so many kittens into Matic. Obviously, it's important for what Kathy said. It is a life-saving mission. Without fosters, we would not be able to save nearly as many kitten and cat lives as we are able to. Fostering provides individual attention to the cats and kittens. When we are packed to the gills at the shelter, as much as our staff cares for the animals, we can't give them the individual attention that you guys can when they're in your home. So that's why it is so important. Socializing, whoa, Kathy. Socializing kittens for the real world. Many of these kittens that you're going to get are going to be between just born and 7 to 9 to 10 weeks. Many of them have never experienced people or the real world, and that is where you come in. Finding adopters for the kittens. Again, this is optional. We do have, I always say if your kittens never have to come back to the shelter, I am happy. So I am all about you guys finding adopters for your kittens, getting them adopted before they even come back for surgery, which we will touch on later, and then just coming back for surgery and then going to their forever home. We are always full, especially in the middle of summer, towards beginning of fall. So if the kittens don't have to come back and stay here, it's less stress for the kennel staff, the medical team, everyone. Facilitating adoption paperwork, which again, we will cover that later, but if you find adopters, you will be able to take care of that. Taking care of the day-to-day needs of kittens, feeding, cleaning, monitoring them for illness, and bringing the kittens into checkups and to surgery dates. We will cover more about the checkups and surgery dates later, but you should be prepared to bring your kittens in every 2 weeks while they're in your care for boosters and for a checkup. Some of the requirements for being a foster, 18 or older. You have to live somewhere where cats and kittens are allowed. That would be a big plus. You have to have time to dedicate to the cats and kittens. Now, depending on which type of kitten you take is going to dictate the time that you need to dedicate to them. Resident pets spayed or neutered, vaccinated, licensed, and not exceeding pet limits. You do not have to live in Milwaukee County to be a cat foster, so different counties have different pet limits. Designated room for foster. We always ask that they stay separate from your resident pets. You need a special place for them just to kind of get over the shelter gunk and learn to kind of be a kitten and learn to trust you and start to socialize. Ability to transport animals to and from facility, obviously for surgery and appointments. Access to email and phone for communication. I do a lot of emails, a lot of texting. Contrary to, not a huge talker, so I don't do a lot of phone calls unless we need to. And your willingness to market kittens, again, that's optional. You don't have to market your kittens. If you just want to be their stop between the shelter and coming back to the shelter to find a new home, that is incredibly important and needed as well. So don't feel like you can't foster if you don't have a plethora of people out in your world to adopt the kittens. Many of my long-term fosters are out of people. They have all adopted all of the kittens that they can, and they are full. So, all right, next slide. Process. This seems to be, it tends to get a little confusing sometimes. So how do you get kittens? Orientation is the first thing, and obviously you fill out a foster application in Volgistics. If you hadn't filled that out, you wouldn't be on this call right now. Once kitten season starts, and there is definitely a kitten season for those of you who have not fostered before, cats and kittens come into Matic every single day. There are times that I will leave work on a Tuesday and I'll come in on Wednesday, and there are 7 groups that need to go out to foster that came in overnight. Typically, I send out an email through Volgistics, and I will also sometimes put it on our Facebook group, depending on what the needs are. When I send out a post for foster, it's pretty immediate. If I send out the email, I would like to have those animals out of the building within 24 hours at the latest. There will be times that I send out an email saying, hey, it's Tuesday, this cat is having surgery on Thursday, I would like it to leave for foster on Friday. So for that one, we have a little bit more leeway. Doc and Kathy are really the ones that let me know who needs foster. I don't go back and check the cats every single day, but Doc and Kathy do. So when there's a foster need, they tell me, and then I take it from there. Once I will tell you that if I send out an email, I will get 30 responses within 2 minutes, which is phenomenal. If you are the person that is able to foster, I will respond. We will set up a time for pickup. If you don't hear back from me within, honestly, probably an hour, the needs have already been met, and I will try to respond to everyone once everything is taken care of. When you come to pick up the kittens, you will sign a foster agreement, get medical paperwork, and any medications or supplies needed. I will say, if I am not there, please make sure that you do have the medical records before you leave. Sometimes they do get left behind if I'm not the one discharging the animals to you. So please make sure that you have everything that you need before you leave with the kittens. You can bring a carrier, or we can provide one. We do have plenty. So what type of cats and kittens will need fostering? The main types, bottle babies. These are the most work in the beginning, but by far the most rewarding. We will cover more bottle babies in a minute. Moms, which we call queens, and babies. Easiest group to foster ever, because mom takes care of the babies, you take care of mom. Super easy. Kittens under 2 pounds that need to get to 2 pounds to have surgery. Kittens under 2 pounds that need socialization, and kittens over 2 pounds that need socialization. That's the main kitten group. Now, I will say most kittens that come to the shelter have been living outside for a while, so they are going to be sick. They're going to have a URI, or they're going to have gunky eyes or a runny nose. This is why we always advise to keep them separate from your resident cat, because if you're only able to foster healthy kittens, you're not going to get very many kittens. We really need fosters that are able to take the ones that need a little bit of extra work. And also adult cats that need foster for medical or behavior reasons. Those are always special circumstances, and I will give complete details on those when that foster is needed. Time commitment and supplies. So on average, you're looking to foster between 2 to 5 weeks, depending on what age group you take. Queens and kittens can be up to 10 weeks, because if you take a queen and she had babies the day before, you're looking at a minimum of 8 to 9 weeks before those kittens are ready for surgery. Kittens that need socialization or health issues move on their own timetable. It could be a week, it could be 3 weeks, it could be 3 months. It just totally depends on how quickly they become social, and how their medical is clearing up. Every effort will be made to give you an accurate estimate of time commitment, but we don't have a crystal ball, and so everything is just our best guess. Vacations can obviously be accommodated. We understand that people have lives. I do ask though that when you do offer, you are able to commit to the full length of the foster term, barring anything happen. We understand emergencies happen, things like that. We always have people that are willing to help out and, you know, take a group for a week or so if something is going on. But again, we do ask that you, when you offer, you are committed to the full length of the foster term. Supplies. Most of these can be provided. Most of what we have is based off donation. So we give you everything that we can when we have it. We can also, I believe Kathy, we're able to order more stuff from time to time when we need it, if we are running low. Designated foster room in your house. Carrier, litter pans, boxes. A lot of times for the really little ones, we recommend using those cardboard boxes that canned food comes in because they're very little and shallow. And so it works really well for the little ones to get in and out of the litter boxes. Food, water bowls and food, toys and beds, blankets, a scale, syringe bottles, and milk replacement if you're doing bottle babies, and a cat tree, which is clearly not required, but it's fun for the kids. All right, safety guidelines. I think Doc is going to chime in on some of these as well. When you are preparing your foster room, you want to remove any potentially toxic items. There is a list in the foster manual. Please read up on that and really know what is toxic to the kittens and what is not. Some of these sound silly, but there is a reason they have to be said. Keep toilet bowls closed. Make sure all vents are secure and closed. Secure any exposed electrical cords. Make sure any open windows have secure screens. Kittens like to climb on screens, and if they're not secure, the screen can pop out. Remove any valuable or breakable items. Kittens don't know that the vase in that room is worth thousands of dollars from your great grandma. They will knock it off the counter. Limit height that kittens can reach. So if you're looking at cat trees, things like that, kittens are little, kittens are breakable, kittens are not smart. They're adorable as can be, but they're not that smart. You don't want anything that they can fall off that's very high that they can injure themselves. Check for any and all possible escape routes and make sure that they are secured. Kittens are tiny, they can get into everything. Separate litter pan from food and water area. Anchor or tie up window blinds, cords, and curtains or drapes. This is a very serious one. Kittens can get tangled in those cords incredibly easy, and they are fun to play with. Keep washer and dryer closed when not in use. We have a foster Callie who will tell you one of her cats likes to sleep in the washer. So she checks her washer every single time before she does laundry. Follow cleaning guidelines that are both safe for pets as well as standard protocol for disinfecting, which is in the manual. And I believe Doc is going to cover some of that now as well. Oh, Doc, I did want to have you talk about too. One thing that we didn't have on the slides is why we don't have more than 2 groups in one foster home.
There's just, you know, we're going to talk about disease some, but can you hear me? I look like I'm unmuted, but I wasn't sure. Okay. It just increases your risk. The more animals you have in your house, you become more like a shelter. The reason we're getting them into foster is that we don't want them in the shelter. So yeah, the more you have in your house, the less easy it is for you to keep the disinfection protocol between the groups. And the other reason that we kind of put that in place is so we don't burn you out. Because everybody thinks they can handle, you know, 3 groups at once. And then next thing you know, you got one with diarrhea, you're like bottle feeding one, you're up all night, you're gonna, you know, we want this to be sustainable for you. We want you to not feel like you're overwhelmed. And it's hard for people like you who want to help to say no sometimes. Especially those that do bottle babies. We don't have many people that have the ability to do it because of how often it needs to be done. And I think that can start getting overwhelming for some people if we start giving you too many groups at once. So that's why we kind of limit it to, plus most of us don't live in mansions with like, you know, 8 extra rooms. So then keeping them all separate, plus your own pets, gets a little difficult. You know, having that.
Please don't be offended when we say no for you, because we will.
Yeah, everybody's hit that limit at some point. You know, having that extra room or that place where they can be is really important. You know, I know some people do integrate them into their homes, and I always say that's at your own risk. I have done it personally, but I'm a vet and I know the risk I'm taking. And they've usually been, I usually only took single kittens, and you know, you have to know your animal's vaccination status and talk to your vet about it, you know, if you're thinking about doing something like that. But one of the big things that can happen is ringworm. And once you got that, it's like, you know, it's a very infectious disease. It's not going to kill anybody, but once you, it's one of those things that sometimes doesn't show up right away. So if we see it a little bit later and now they've been around your cats, we can't treat your cats. So we want you to be safe too. I mean, and as far as safety too, the other reason why a designated room is good is because even if your animals are very friendly, a lot of these cats we're sending to you might not be very comfortable, especially when they're first adjusting. I mean, it's just like getting a new pet to having other animals around. The one I'm really emphasize that with is those queens. They're going to be protective. They're going to get upset by other cats trying to come in. And if you have nosy cats, having 2 doors separating or a door and a gate is going to be really important, because we've seen a lot of, you know, what happens if somebody ends up getting bit because there's a fight, and we don't want that to happen for the mom or for your cats. So that's a big one. Cleaning protocol, this is where I get to start. It's like my favorite, disinfection and cleaning. Read through this, you guys are gonna, I think you have this probably in your manual. This is gonna look really intense. Physical cleaning, like the actual vacuuming, mopping, dusting, using Swiffers, that is going to take care of a lot of things. The bleach, where that comes in, there's a few diseases that are hard to kill. One of them is, there's different words for it. It's panleukopenia. It would be feline distemper is a term for it, but it's actually a feline parvovirus. Not seen very often, but
Libby, I just muted you. Libby, you got,
yeah.
sorry. I was
Did
letting
you need
someone in. I was letting someone
Oh,
in and I muted
okay.
you accidentally.
You didn't
Sorry.
need to mute me. Okay. So that and ringworm. Ringworm is a fungus that puts off spores. The spores are very hard to kill, but you can, with a lot of physical cleaning, get them up. Bleach, actually even stronger than the 1 to 30. I think it's like a 1 to 16 is what is needed to kill the spores. But like I said, if you do a lot of Swiffering, a lot of vacuuming, a lot of heat, I'd always recommend, and not everybody has this ability, but not having kittens in a carpeted room is ideal, because carpet holds in a lot of stuff. Carpet is much nicer in the house, but at the end of the day, it's harder to clean. It's easy because you just gotta vacuum it and you walk away. But like if you get something nasty in there, we all know like what happens. It's really hard to clean, you know, and steam cleaning is a fun time. Bathrooms work great. I have a bathroom that I used to put foster kittens in. It's a weirdly large bathroom, and I don't know why it's like that, but it was perfect because it had 2 doors, you know, and I had floors that I could clean very easily in there. There are other products, probably most of your normal cleaning products that are saying that they're 99% effective against viruses like Corona and things like that are probably going to be effective against most of that normal URI junk. A lot of those are very easy to kill. But it's hard to tell. So it's always just good to do a good clean twice around would be my recommendation. Washing, the biggest thing, I know we have comments in here about bleach and baking soda. Bleach is important, especially if you think you've had ringworm. Heat is really important. So washing stuff on hot, if you can, is always good. If you have a dishwasher, that's really good for bowls and things like that. I feel like I talk a lot about ringworm, but it's like the worst case scenario. So I want you to know what kills something that's like hard to kill, and that would be it. Anything that's like a porous material. So those cat trees, carpeted, toys, things like that. When you have something like that, if it can't go through the washer and dryer, it's probably time to just get rid of it. Except for your carpet, I know in your house you can't do that, but steam cleaning a couple times, I usually think is pretty effective. You know, just like you take care of your own pets, washing the food and water bowls as you need to, yourself. People are a big, what we call a fomite. I think like everybody in the world knows that term now. It's not a very well-known term until we all had COVID. So having different clothing, different shoes, taking off your shoes. I once had a ringworm kitten in my house, and I like had all these bags outside the bathroom, and like I had different clothes for in there and out of there. But washing your hands is going to be the biggest thing, in your clothes, like where you're holding the animal. Not having that, doing that, and then going and holding your own cat. It's pretty common sense things, you know. I think we're all in a better place now on how to prevent infectious diseases in our life. So, you know, direct contact is always going to be the biggest thing that's going to spread stuff, but definitely there's fomites that can do that too. So that's why we like to have a good protocol for the worst case scenario. This is pretty strong here, what we're giving you, but it doesn't hurt. All right, I think I covered that. Oh, medical emergencies. So when you get your cats or kittens, we're going to schedule regular checkups, which I know we're talking about later, but there's going to be things that happen in between. This is normal. These kittens are orphan kittens, is what we refer to them as. They are not your normal healthy kittens that have had their mom. And sometimes even when they do have their mom, these are street cats. They've had a rough life. They've had, you know, they don't have everything going for them like, you know, your purebred breeder cats would. So different things that you're going to see that are going to feel like, oh my God, I need somebody to look at this animal now. But it might not necessarily be that. A lot of these things can have some time before we see them. It's not like you have to drop everything and rush them in. You're going to feel like that. And they are very fragile, some of these little tiny ones. But these are the things that give Kate a call. You know, if you don't hear back from her super quick or it's her weekend, reach out to Kathy or the front desk and we'll get you scheduled to come in within the next day. The URI. So when I say URI, I've been using that term. It's upper respiratory infection. So it's like a common cold. There's a lot of viruses and bacteria that affect that. And it's very, very common in cats, very easily transmittable. And it's often brought on by stress, which every time an animal moves around, it gets stressed. Younger kittens have weaker immune systems. They're going to be more prone to get these things. They're not fully vaccinated. They don't have a full immune system yet. So, you know, gunky eyes, sneezy noses, coughing, you know, wheezing that doesn't last. If it's like a couple little wheezes and then they stop, it's not like they can't get control of their breath. Having a puny appetite, some diarrhea. I mean, diarrhea, if you're going to foster kittens, like it's going to be a thing. It's just a thing. I went to a conference and like there was a talk about this, you know, these sorts of things in orphan kittens. And like, that was the biggest question is like, what do we do for kitten diarrhea? And the answer is like, nobody knows. We have a lot of things we do and try and things parasites we test for. And if we find those, great. But a lot of times it's just, their GI tracts are just changing and adjusting and it happens. Having it is one thing, having it to where it's uncontrollable or continuing is another. Usually those you're going to start with bringing in a fecal sample. We don't always need to see the kittens for that. Getting sick a couple times over 24 hours, if it's not a baby is okay. You know, that's the other thing, like cats puke. It's also kind of a thing. You know, they tend to, some of them will eat too fast. And if it comes up, like sometimes we're going to ask you questions that are going to seem weird, but it's because I'm trying to differentiate what's happening. A lot of times they'll eat the food too fast and it just comes straight back up. That's regurgitating. That's not actually vomiting, but it's going to look like vomiting. They're going to put effort into it. It's going to be traumatic. So yeah, just let us know. And then I always make a call. Kate will come to me as far as when things need to be seen. If it's something we give it time or we see it. Weight loss, especially in kittens that are probably under a pound, is going to be a huge thing. That we do take pretty seriously. Limping, things happen, things fall. most of the time kittens are pretty resilient, and if they fracture bones, a lot of times they just heal because they're so little and still developing, but not ideal, but things happen. I mean, kittens fall, they get tied up in things. That's, those things like blinds and stuff that we're talking about. That's one of the reasons why we got to watch for that, because it happens. Sometimes they get their nail stuck in something and they twist it for a while, and these things will happen and they're going to look really dramatic, but you'll be amazed at how quickly they recover from it. Any sort of skin stuff. So when we go back to ringworm again, if you see any crusty hair loss, face, ears, feet, belly, and tails are the big places to look for. Don't freak out. A lot of times it's not, but let us know. And, a lot of times that's, like I said, ringworm is annoying and it's very infectious and it can spread to people. And that's why we take it very seriously. But my statement about ringworm is it's never killed anybody that I know of. I mean, it could have, but it's a fungus and it's a skin infection, and it's treatable. It's not an easy treatment. It's not a fun treatment, but it is. Minor wounds, those are going to kind of fall in that same category with skin stuff. Anything that you see, it's weird. Send Kate a picture. Sometimes I still need to see it in person, helps. Not going to the bathroom for a couple days. Sometimes these kittens go from like diarrhea to being constipated and they'll go back and forth a little bit. That's okay, as long as it doesn't keep going. As long as stuff is still coming in, it's got to come out eventually. Like I was always told, it's a Play-Doh factory. Like something goes in, it's eventually going to come out. But okay, emergency. So these are the things that you can freak out a little bit about. These are the things we probably need to see the same day for sure. The big thing, and I know Kate's going to talk more about the after hours stuff. If you take that animal to a vet after hours and we have not authorized it, we can't pay for it. That's the big reason we don't tell you to do that, or we tell you not to do that. The other reason is we like consistency of care. So if something really bad happens after hours and we have to send you to one of the emergency clinics, which I'm going to tell you 99% of the time, that's not going to happen. We want it to be one that we work with because they communicate directly with me. And I just, we have certain protocols. We deal with different things than regular vets do. I think a lot of them do still see these sickly kittens, but not to the extent that we do. So we have different ways we go about dealing with them. Not getting up, what we call lateral, that's a term our staff likes to use a lot. That basically means they're laying on their side. That's a position. It's not really like a thing, but being lateral and not getting up is a problem. Breathing. So one thing you can do if they're having a lot of issues, like increased respiratory rate, the way we're going to know that is get a stopwatch, watch them, count the breaths, count it for 15 seconds, and then multiply it by 4. And then you can give us a respiratory rate. Super easy to do. But generally respiratory stuff is not good. If they're really struggling to breathe and they can't stop, I do need to see that immediately. Seizures, true seizures are hard to define versus there's other like syncopal episodes and things like that, or they're like having a fit or sneezing fit or something can look like that. The other thing is if you're going to be like freaking out in the moment, but if you can take a video or a picture is always helpful because that helps me see what happened. Again, going back to those kittens that are like under a pound, maybe under 1.5 pounds and scraggly. If they're having a lot of diarrhea, like uncontrolled, like going on themselves, definitely need to see them that day. They dehydrate very quickly, and that's one of the ways it happens. That's actually a big way it happens, and especially if they're not eating. Anything major accidents happen, let us know immediately. Not eating for over 12 hours is important. Urination, if you're having adult cat fosters, especially if you're having male cats that are struggling to go to the bathroom, that's important. But also not urinating for 24 hours is another sign they're not getting enough fluids in. So temperature we have on here, I don't overly recommend you trying to do temperatures at home. If you do, it's a regular thermometer, just like you'd use for yourself. but you're going to have one that's going to be dedicated for animals, because I don't want you using it on yourself, because we generally do rectal temperatures, or sometimes you can get an idea from putting it in the armpit area on animals, but otherwise that's why we do it. And, you know, we want to keep that separate from our human thermometers. But yeah, I mean, it's hard to really say that they have a fever until we see them and kind of do that at Matic. So these things, again, I know we'll talk more about after hours, but probably need to see the same day. Is this stuff Kate wants to talk about, or both of us? I think I kind of covered some of it.
Always call me. It doesn't matter what time, what anything. If I don't answer, call me again. Normal hours. Call my cell phone, which is 414-510-2556. I will get you set to bring them into the shelter during non-business hours, so basically overnight. Contact me. Like I said, if I don't answer, please call me again. Just call until I answer. And I will get in touch with Doc, and we will figure out a plan. Again, like what Doc said, first thing is, I know it's hard. Everything is panicked in the moment, especially in an emergency. Take a deep breath, because if you wake me up in the middle of the night, it's gonna take me a second anyway. So take a breath. But we will always figure something out. Main thing is, call me first. Vaccination and surgery schedule. So, like, I'm not sure, Doc, if we talked about this privately or, but shelter boosters are different than private vet boosters.
Yeah, there's different protocols. There's different protocols for shelter, and these are like standard vet protocols. There's different ones for shelter versus animals that are privately owned. So if this seems very frequent, don't worry about it. We know what we're doing. The other thing, I'm going to let Kate talk about this, but the other thing I'm going to tell you on this is I do have staff that is great, and we'll try and we plan these out the best we can around what happens, but we can't predict what happens. So I just am always going to ask that you have some patience, 15, 30 minutes every time we come in for an appointment, depending on what it is. Because my staff isn't just there. Unfortunately, I don't have dedicated people for just foster appointments. Usually they're dealing with multiple other things, and it just depends on the day and the time, what happens. So I just ask for patience with them. They're great, and they are going to be as efficient as possible. If you do feel like they forgot, there's sometimes where the message didn't get through. So just ask the front desk to give them a call again, say, hey, did you forget about me? But yeah, that's all I have on that.
There was one other thing that I neglected to mention when talking about the emergency. If you, oh, sorry, the tiny human is now sitting at the table with her tablet. Hopefully that's a little bit better. I turned her tablet down. In regards to the emergency situation, if you have a gut feeling that something is wrong, if it is 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the afternoon, call me. Let me know. Give me a heads up. We only have a vet tech there until 9 o'clock at night. So if at 8:30 you realize that something that's been going on since 5 o'clock is not getting any better, it's a hard time to get something done. It will get done, but I would rather know about it earlier and be preemptive than all of a sudden 9 o'clock at night, something that's been wrong for a few hours is now really wrong.
And the weekends it's 5 o'clock.
Yeah, weekends is 5 o'clock. So. Okay, so in most situations, kittens will need to return to the shelter every 2 weeks. We typically have appointments scheduled between 10 and 3. Usually we have 3 booster appointments a day and 3 emergency appointments if need be. So we try to get everyone in. When there are litters of kittens, 7 litters that go out on the same day, we might be a few days behind in getting you in for your boosters because we can't fit in everyone on the same day. I do have a wonderful foster. She's one of our bottle baby fosters, Alicia, who is helping with scheduling booster appointments. Her email, Evie? Sorry. Her email is fosterappointment@matic.org. So I ask that you would add that to your email address as well. I am going to be scheduling appointments until May. She is in 3 classes in school right now, so she has a lot going on. But one of us will always email you to set up appointments. Please respond to us as soon as you get that email because appointments go fast. Surgery dates will be set up. I will set up all the surgery dates. We schedule them when the kitten is going to be close to 2 pounds. They can have surgery at 2 pounds. So if they come in for a booster appointment and they're 1.8, I will probably schedule you for surgery 2 weeks after that instead of another booster appointment. We try to get them in well before they are 3 pounds. 3-pound kittens are still cute, but people want the really cute little ones. Kittens that are in foster for socialization may get altered before they go. If it's a 4 or 5 month old kitten that needs socialization, we're going to alter it before it goes out to foster. We will still do the week or the 2 week appointments. Unless you feel that bringing them in is going to be detrimental, we'll probably push it back to 3 weeks or so. Surgery space is incredibly limited and coveted, and we never have enough of it. So I am begging that when we get you scheduled for surgery, barring any unforeseen emergency, please make your appointment. If we lose a surgery spot, or say we lose 5 surgery spots because it's a litter of kittens, that puts us in a really hard spot. There are a lot of different departments that have to get on the surgery schedule. Kathy, is that me or you? Okay. Oh no, sorry, something popped up on the screen. I wasn't sure if it was your computer or mine. The big two, the 2 types of kittens that are going to need fostering the most. Bottle baby fosters and socialization fosters. Bottle babies take more time and training, but they are so worth it. I'm not sure if Elizabeth Sipe is on here, but she just took a mom and 2 babies. And for those of you that are on the Facebook page, she just posted a picture of when Sweet Pea went to foster, she weighed 0.12 pounds. None of us expected her to make it through the night. She is now almost 4 weeks old and thriving. So it is so incredibly rewarding. Socializing kittens that are scared saves lives. Kittens that are not the cute little fluffy ones anymore and that are scared and need socializing, those are the ones that need you the most. The cute little fluffies are going to get adopted. They're going to get snatched up. The ones that are scared and need to learn how to trust people, those are the ones that really need you. Saving more lives depends on recruiting more fosters for bottle babies and kittens needing socialization. Okay, now next one. Bottle babies. They need to be fed every 2 to 4 hours. Having someone in the house that is willing to help you bottle feed is huge. So if you feed, the kitten lady has a video that she posted. She does the feeding at 11 o'clock at night. Her boyfriend stays up and plays video games. So he does the feeding at 1 o'clock. She gets up at 3 o'clock to do the next feeding. So instead of getting a 2-hour span of sleep in there, she got a 4-hour span. So it really does help to have someone that is willing to help you out. You need to warm the milk and weigh the kittens before feeding so you can keep an accurate weight to make sure that they are gaining. You need to potty the kittens. As bottle babies, their mother would normally take care of that, but without a mother, you are their mother. You need to keep a detailed log of feeding and weight. You need bottles and syringes, and you need to keep your babies warm, either with heating pads that are pet approved or incubators. We were very lucky. Friendomatic did supply us with 3 portable incubators this year. We are hoping that if we have more people that are really interested in bottle babies, that we would be able to get more.
Okay, socialization. So socialization's kind of, I'm going to speak briefly about this. It somehow became my jam. When we first started the foster program, the Hissy Spitty kittens, they weren't on the top of the priority list. We really just, even at that point, getting out the healthy littles that were friendly was hard to do. And now we're finally in a place where we have enough fosters, we have the support, we have the surgery, we have the resources that we're able to now focus on the next step. And socialization is critical for the next step for saving lives. So when Kate said that, that's what we're talking about. The easy kittens are easy to adopt out. These are the ones that are going to need a little bit more time and a little bit more patience. So when we're talking about this, we're talking about everything from 4-week-old kittens that kind of dance around and spit that are kind of funny, all the way to 4, 5, 6-month-old cats that have not been socialized and need extensive socialization. People who are going to socialize, we need you to be socializing every day. We need you to do your research. So we have some resources for you. We need you to connect with some of our other fosters that have done a really great job, like Lisa Dixon and Cass, that have taken these cats that are 4 months old and have been able to make them adoptable. Lots of people in the house to hold the kittens, to introduce them to many as people as possible. Making sure you're the only source of food for these kittens. So this is not, if you're really, really busy and all you have time to do is really clean the litter box and leave food for the kittens, these aren't good kittens for you. We need somebody who's going to sit there while they eat, hang out with them, let them sit on their lap while they're watching TV, have them, I know that some other rescues have been really successful by having a cage in their living room and just letting life go around the kittens while they learn to trust people. So we always recommend Hissy Spitty kittens that they are confined into a confined space, whether that be a cage, a very small room with all exits blocked. Someone pointed out in the chat that if you have a box spring in your room, that you need to make sure that box spring is completely contained, because kittens do get into box springs. They do get into vents. They do get into drop ceilings. And then also, we didn't mention this earlier, but recliners can be very dangerous for kittens. So just being really careful for those kind of things. So I really, really want you guys to try, especially if you've been fostering with us for a while. If you're a little afraid of the Hissy Spitty ones, we'll start you with some vanilla Hissy Spitties, and then we'll move you on to the more spicier ones. But this really is this is life-saving here at Matic right now. What we really need to do is we need to really work with you guys and get a lot more of you comfortable taking on these little guys, because they want to be loved. They need to be taken care of. We don't want them to be wildcats. So definitely we'll give you resources, and we're gonna move on to that very shortly. But just consider giving some of these little guys a shot this year if you haven't yet. So Kate. We can't hear you really well, Kate. Can you scoot it a little closer?
Let me see if I can. I tried to move away from Evie's tablet.
All right, try that.
A little better?
Yeah.
Okay. We launched a foster mentor program last year on our Facebook page. It was not super well received. I don't think that we had many people sign up for it. But it's a really great resource. Some of our existing fosters are so phenomenal, and they've been doing this so long, and they have so much expertise that they can share. So if you are an existing foster and you would be willing to mentor a new foster, please sign up to be a mentor. If you are a new foster and you would like to have a mentor, I believe you can go through the people that have signed up to be a mentor and choose one. Someone that's in your area that you would like to, like the type of kittens that you would like to work with. I mentioned her before, the kitten lady, Hannah Shaw, has provided webinars to any shelter that is working on saving kittens' lives. We do ask that attending the appropriate seminars, that you can do that in order to get a better idea of what you're in for. It's free, you can do it on your own schedule, and we will email you the orphan kitten booklet and Maddox foster handbook. I will probably get that out to you tomorrow at some point. Keep an eye on your email. That will be coming from our Volgistics email. We've got the kitten care guidelines from the kitten lady, and then the kitten webinars for bottle babies, feral kittens, and growing kittens. She's phenomenal. If you guys don't follow her on Facebook, follow her. She is amazing, and you will learn so much. All right, next one. Doc, do you want me to start this one, or do you want to start this one?
I mean, I can give. So last summer was when I attended an online conference where they talked about this. There are no good studies on how many kittens make it out of foster. But the little they've started looking at the ASPCA and in New York, 10 to 12% aren't going to make it. And I think we have a higher success rate than that. But when it's one of yours, it's going to feel like 100% and you failed and you didn't. These cats did not have the right start to life. They're litters. That's very common. I think we all know about the runt and the litter. Everybody wants to save the runt, but there's a reason. Sometimes they don't make it. And I don't ever want anybody to feel like it's their fault. This is why, we want to see things early. I have over the years changed a lot with how I approach treating and working with you guys. I know I don't talk to a lot of you directly, but I do like to give you guys a lot of input in what we do with these cats and kittens. And it's because you guys are the ones putting in the time. I get overwhelmed with how many problem appointments I get sometimes. But the reason I do it is because I trust you and I trust your gut. And if you think something's wrong, it probably is something. And if it's not, it's okay. That's at least a lot of times I'm sure some of you have heard my technicians tell you, she says it's not going to make it, but we can do our best. And if you want to try, she'll let you try. And that's up to you. That's always up to you. I don't think a lot of these kittens are suffering when they're that far gone. And we've seen miracles happen, and it does, but there's many times when I can predict it's not going to work out. But we will give it our best shot. We always do. And I don't want you guys to feel like you failed. And we try and tell ourselves that too, because we feel that way sometimes too when they don't make it. We put a lot of work into some of these. I had one this summer that I put my own work into because, I went up to Matt at 6 o'clock at night to see the foster kitten. And for some reason, he just said to me he wanted to live. And I thought my whole problem was just that he didn't have a heating pad and I had a heating pad at home. So I took him home. We put like 3 weeks of work into him. And then he went to a foster home and, he's now out and adopted, but it took some time and medical work. So there's many reasons why it happens. We all do our best. It's a learning. It's happened to me, and that is hard as a vet. Like I took it very hard the couple times it's happened to me. But that should tell you, like, it's not always meant to be. It's the unfun part of this. And sometimes it's not for you when you lose a kitten. Like some people just can't do it again because they can't go through that. But you have to look at what you did. And what you did is you gave that kitten a chance that it didn't have before. And I just want everybody to think about that. And you gave it love that it didn't have. You gave it something that it didn't have. So yeah, don't don't take it too rough.
You will always beat yourself up. You will always blame yourself. And no matter what we tell you, that is not going to change. But just know that we don't ever blame you, and we know it's not your fault. And this is the way of the world with kittens. It is incredibly heartbreaking. And like Doc said, sometimes you don't want to keep fostering after that. I've had fosters in the past that have lost, a kitten or two, move on to fostering adult cats for a little bit, because that's just kind of what their heart needed. Their heart needed a break. And so they didn't want to stop fostering, but they fostered the adult cats that were much more stable and much less at risk of passing. And then when they felt better, they got back to kittens. So you have to do what is right for you and your family and your household. Many of you have kids that are going to get attached to these kittens, and that is one of the hardest things. I have seen too many kids cry, and it's sad. It's a learning experience for them, but always keep in mind that what is best for you and your family and your household is what has to come first when it comes to this type of situation.
And we do our best to give you cats we think you'll be successful with and kittens we think you'll be successful with. But like Kathy was talking about, how this has kind of progressed with our foster program, as we are doing more medical and neonates, and those are the ones you're most likely to lose. So we're giving them a chance that they didn't get before. And so we're going to see more that aren't going to make it, but it's not, I hope most of you will be surprised at how many, do great for you.
If you do have a kitten that passes away, just let me know and we can arrange for you to bring it in. Okay, so kittens are ready for adoption. Now what? One of two things is going to happen. If you have adopters lined up, you're going to let me know that. I will send you the adoption paperwork that you will get to the adopters, and they will get back to me. I do ask that adoptions are done at least 3 days prior to surgery. There's just a couple of different departments that have to be involved in it. So if we can get it done a couple days prior to surgery and have everything wrapped up by the time the kittens come in, that's normally best. I do understand last minute adoptions happen. Someone meets a kitten on a Monday and decides Wednesday night that surgery is Thursday, that they really wanted it. If you do not have someone lined up to adopt, they would come back and they get spayed, neutered, and then they would stay for adoption after surgery. Also, all of the guidelines for how to do a foster facilitated adoption, there is a document on our Facebook page. So if you have questions on that, it is all written up in a document on our Facebook page. Payments, we normally just take over the phone. So our front desk will call the adopters, collect payment, and go over pickup instructions for the day of surgery. I do ask that you let us call the adopter and not have the adopter call us, because most of the time the adopter doesn't know the kitten's ID number, or they say, I'm adopting so-and-so's cat, but they don't have the last name of the foster, and it just gets very confusing in the front desk. It gets very confusing. So I just ask that you let us call the adopter when it's time to collect payment. We will take care of all of that. Oh my goodness, I can't let this one go. It has happened to all of us. You can adopt your kitten. If there is one in a litter that is just, you cannot fathom letting go, don't. Keep in mind, the more kittens you adopt, the less you will be able to foster. So we are not going to fault you for adopting your foster kitten. You do get, first dibs on adopting one of your foster kittens, unless there's a very, very rare chance that I say, hey, this cat needs foster for 3 weeks. It already has an adopter lined up. It's incredibly rare. That doesn't happen often. Adoption fees are the same for fosters as adopters. All the paperwork needs to be filled out as well. We don't call it foster failing anymore. We call it foster winning. You are not failing. You are winning and giving a cat a good life. Yeah, I think that's it for that one. Contact info. That's me. That's Maddox's address, our phone number. My cell phone number is the 510 number. as you are all aware, just from this, I do have a 3-year-old daughter. And so, like I said, if you call me and I don't answer, please call me again. If it is an emergency, call me. If it's just a random question or something that you think can wait, shoot me a text, shoot me an email, and I will respond to you as quickly as I can. But if it's an emergency, always call me. I think that's all I have. Kathy, Doc?
I
else?
feel like Kate's probably too nice to say this, but if it's not an emergency and it's during the nighttime, if you could just let it wait until the daytime. I mean, she loves your texts and everything, but
Or an email. I don't think an email will wake her up.
an email, but just keep in mind that she is looking for those emergency emails. So if you're sending her just cute pictures of your cats, we love them. We love the updates and all that stuff, but just keep in mind that just like you get woken up by maybe your messenger alerts or your text alerts, to just kind of take and like, just ask yourself, should I be sending this in the morning? We want the updates. We want the little fuzzy things, the funny things. We love that, but just keep that in mind too. So I just wanted to take a second here and see if anybody has any questions. I don't see anybody really asked any questions. I covered the box spring.
I
Renee,
love the box spring.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, the box-
I've had, my own cats have gotten into like the vents, the rafters, the box springs. I don't have them anymore.
Renee Stadler, who has been a foster forever and is fantastic, and she gets almost all of her kittens adopted every time. She recommends the Kitten Ladies book as well. Talk about posting images to social media. Yeah, sure, we can do that. Kate has special guidelines for that. So Kate, can you cover when people can start sharing the pictures of their kittens on social media?
Yeah, so if you get kittens that are sick, we definitely don't want them shared until they are healthy and ready to be adopted. I normally say I would not, you're more than welcome to share them to the foster Facebook page all the time, whenever you want. But if you're going to start sharing to the public to find adopters, I would wait until they're about 6 weeks old. That still gives you plenty of time for people to be interested. When people see cute kittens, they're going to be interested right away. We do not do, go ahead.
I was going to say the other thing we have is sometimes we put kittens in foster care before they're actually Maddox property.
Yeah.
And in that particular case, they're typically, it takes 5 days for them to be our property, but sometimes we'll put kittens in foster care on the first day. So we ask that you don't share them until they're our property as well. So even if you get like a 1.5 pound kitten that just needs 2 weeks in foster care, we ask that you check with Kate before posting because they might not be our property yet.
Yeah.
What else were you saying, Kate? Is that it?
No, that was really it. Just, you know, you want to make sure you don't want to post sick kittens and get people attached and then have the kitten not make it. And then you have to post on Facebook that this cute kitten that you were sharing, like, it's, save yourself some heartache as well. Just wait until they are cleared for adoption to start posting.
Okay, we have Noelle and Joel asked that they're very excited that they're going to be, this is their first year fostering. They're wondering how many you typically get at a time.
Oh, we didn't talk about numbers. So we do pair, but just like we don't let you have more than 2 groups in your house, we don't usually pair more than 2 different litters or single kittens at a time. And that's a socialization for them to learn boundaries. We don't like to put single kittens out there, but occasionally we do. But otherwise,
Single kittens are jerks.
There's various, I would say we were actually having this discussion about how many kittens are. I would say your max litter size is 8 kittens, but most of you are going to see far less than that. I would say 3 to 4 is going to be your normal.
Normally, if we get a litter of 8, we're willing, 8 or 9, we're willing to split it to like a group of 4 and a group of 5 because 8 or 9 kittens is a lot. That's a lot of poop to clean up. That's a lot. I mean, it's a lot.
We definitely have fosters who have taken 9 kittens. Nicole Rogan, I'm thinking of her. So they're definitely,
and they had ringworm.
The long and the short of it is we're not going to give you more than you can handle. So you're going to get to choose. So if it's your first shot and you just want to do 2, you wait first for a litter of 2 to come along. So you don't have to take that litter of 5 when it comes. You pick up the 2 when you can. And as you get more comfortable, you might be more and more comfortable taking more.
And we're not going to ask you, probably a first time fostering, to take a group of 8. That's a lot.
Probably not, but it's on
I wouldn't want to
vacation.
take a group of 8. That's a lot.
That's a lot of kittens. Yeah. Does anybody else have any question? How do we show we are capable of the fireball kittens? Yeah. I was just going to make a honey badger joke, but I won't. I think it's your comfort level. And if you're ready to take that next step and try a little bit spicy kittens, I am willing to have you stop by and see what it is you're up against. I've walked Cass back there. I've walked Lisa back there, and I've showed them, this is what I can do. I can hold this cat. Are you comfortable taking it home? So if
I'm going to say on those, the crazier home is, the better it is for those cats. Like I live by myself and I don't ever have people over. Like I'm a terrible person for cats like that.
Yeah. Crazy homes are good for cats that need socialization. Yeah. So you definitely could, if this is your first time doing spicy cats and you want to get comfortable with what we're asking you to do, you want to see if you can actually hold them, definitely let Kate know you're interested. I work Sunday through Thursdays. Doc works Sunday through Thursday. Kate works Tuesday through Saturday. So there's always pretty much one of us there. If you're willing to try, we want to bring you to that next level. We will take the time to hold your hand and show you what it is we're asking you to do. I'm not going to send a like 5 cats that are crazy into a carrier and send it off to your house.
Mm-hmm. We don't want people to get bit or scratched at all.
No, we don't. And that's, we didn't cover that. So, if you do get bit or scratched, and you definitely need to get health, like go to the doctor, but do let Kate know if one of our cats has bit or scratched you. She needs to be notified immediately.
Before that, I will say, so on Sunday and Monday on my days off, depending on how busy Kathy is, if she's got the time, she is wonderful and sends out emails for fosters for me. If she's super busy with her own stuff, which she's a busy person, she will let me know who needs something. I will say, more than likely on a Sunday or a Monday, you're going to see a Facebook post. You're not going to get an email on a Sunday or Monday from me. I don't have access to that at home. So if Kathy tells me that there are some cats that need foster on a Sunday, Monday, it's going on the Facebook page.
Yeah. And then Dawn Sherry wants to be signed up for a jalapeno kitten. We can do that. And we have Lonnie says she's had lots of spicy kittens and would love to take them. So that's great. A lot of times we reach out to a couple of different rescues to take some of these cats too. And sometimes we overwhelm them, asking them to keep taking these spicy cats. So I would really love to have more of you set up so we can take care of them ourselves.
Yeah.
Mary Smith says, thanks, Dr. Libby, Kate, and Kathy. Last year, I fostered an old hospice cat with stage 4 kidney disease. It would have been so easy for you to not have given her a chance. 1 year later, Agnes is happy and much love. So that's awesome. Yeah, we do put kittens.
Those are going to come up. Yeah.
He's just coming
hospice.
to see you.
We do put cats in hospice care. Yeah. So that's a question and that's a discussion that Kate will have with you that you need to have.
There she is.
Okay.
She was so far gone last year, and here she is.
Oh,
She's
she
so
made
happy.
it.
See it.
She made it. I never realized that you would not give up. But amazing. So Agnes says thank you. Whoever made that decision, she says thank you.
Thank you, Mary.
The senior cats are important too, just as much as the babies. It's not fair for them to have to die in a shelter. So we do our best.
Here's a question for Kate. If you work out of the office a couple times a week, can you still do bottle babies? What if you are able to bring the babies to the office when they require a feeding every few hours? This is
Absolutely.
Yeah, as long as you don't get in trouble, we don't care.
Yeah, as long as you don't get fired, we're okay with it.
There's different stages of bottle babies too. Because, as they get to like 2 or 3 weeks, they're not going to have to be fed quite as often, especially 3 to 4 weeks. So you're going to start getting them converted over to food, which can be a whole other challenge. But yeah, bottle babies, it's going to feel like the longest 2 weeks of your life, but it's really only like 2 or 3 weeks before you get them eating.
Yeah. Yeah, if you can bring them to work with you, I know Cass has done that. I know Alicia has done that. Alicia is a bartender at a small bar a couple nights a week. They go with her. And
Yeah.
they're in their carrier and she feeds them when they need to be fed. And I think that's how a lot of them have found homes.
Yeah, and Cass works at Lush, and her manager allows her to feed them on her breaks. So
Yeah.
yeah. super
Everybody
cool.
loves when kittens come to work.
Yeah, well, who's going to complain about that, right? Unless you're allergic. All right. Any other questions? Either you can chime in or type it. What's the best way to transition kittens with queens to solid food?
Ugh. They're the worst. They're like little leeches when you have a mom there, because some of those moms won't stop.
Honestly, we have taken the mom, when the kittens are
Yeah.
6 weeks, we usually bring the moms back.
Yeah.
So that the kittens are forced to figure life out without mom because they are very capable of it.
Especially if they aren't trying. A lot of them will just do it on their own, but if they're not, yeah, give her
They
a
will
break.
nurse as long as mom lets them. So if we have to take mom away when the kittens are big enough to be on their own, that is what we will do.
Yeah, we've taken mom away in little bits too, not just like cold turkey. We've
Yeah.
had
Give
mom
them
go
a break.
another room for 8 hours or 6 hours or something like that, and then so they have to start to be on their own. So that's probably the best way is to start to move them away from mom, because they're not going to leave mom. I mean, some, like, naturally some of them just do, but if you're having trouble, contact us. We definitely can give you some ideas, but definitely getting mom in some of her own space is definitely very helpful.
Oh, and I just want to throw out, because I know it's been mentioned before, for people that have fostered with other organizations, we do not require our kittens to be solely on dry food when they come back. I would prefer them to be on wet food their entire life.
Yeah.
So please do not feel like you can't return your cats until they are only on dry food. We
Yeah.
don't want them only on
Yeah.
dry food.
I think that's a Wisconsin Humane Society kind of rule, and that's definitely not our rule. So you can continue to feed your kittens wet food as long as you have them, and we'll
It's expensive, but we'll get it.
yeah.
We get it donated. Don't worry.
Yeah. Well, it's
We need
not
it.
even that. Like, we'll tell the adopters they need to feed them wet food.
Yep.
Like, I don't have a
Oh
problem.
yeah, all my cats get it.
Yeah, it's best for them. Any other questions? I know it's a little past 7:30, so I just wanna, if there's any other questions. The other thing is that Facebook group. If you're not on that Facebook group, ask to join, answer the questions, so Kate will just approve you. If you don't know where to find it, just send Kate an email asking her where to find it. It's a great resource. We can continue this conversation there. You can continue to ask questions anytime. But that's why we're here. That's why Doc's here. That's why Kate's here. That's why I'm here. We're here to support you guys. We need you to do this. We can't do any of this without you. We can't even actually take kittens home ourselves, technically. So we're not even allowed to foster for Matic. So you are the reason these cats are living. You're the reason these cats have a chance. And for some of you, you're the reason tons of your friends and families have great animals in their homes. So I just want to thank everybody for being here. I don't know if Kate has anything else to say, but we will definitely follow up any questions you guys have. Kate will send out an email tomorrow. We just love seeing you guys here. I'm so pleased that you guys showed up.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you guys for taking time out of your busy schedules and being here. We appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yep. Thank you for what you do. It's a lot. We know.
All right, guys, I'm gonna end the meeting. You guys have a wonderful night. And we'll talk to you guys soon.
All right, thanks, guys.
Bye.